Pravistam Vishnupara Shutarashatashimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shila Gurudev Ki Jai. Nitil Pravistam Vishnupara Shutarashatashimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pravistam Vishnupara Shutarashatashimar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Śrīla Prabhupāda Ki Jai. Nitil Pravistam Vishnupara Shutarashatashimar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupara Shutarashatashimar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Shilagokshwaras Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Shila Satchitaranda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Patadas Raghunath Shard Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Nam Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Kora Mandala Braj Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kund Ki Jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Om Jnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Mai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo mahavadanyaya Krishna prema dayate Krishnaya Krishna chaitanya namne gauratvishe namaha. Gurave gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishna Krishna Bhaktaya Tar Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yang Pravrajantam Apetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Viraha Katara Ajuha Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Bhinedus Tang Sarva Bhuta Hridaya Munimanatosmi Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Shrindvata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridantasto Hyabha Adrani vidhunati suhrit satam nashta prayeshvabhadreshvat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki tavai vasmi na jivami tvaya iti vigyaya radhe tvang nayamang charanantikam Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshai Kshiptashtakama Ditaranga Madhe Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charana Ravindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol, Champak Didi, and Prajumna Prabhu, Mantra Murti Mataji. Oh yes, Prajumna Prabhu, I feel very blessed also to be able to connect every day in Kata. That's how we're supposed to be connecting with each other. Thank you, Haribol. All right, so today we are going through chapter, and we have a little bit to finish up of, we're going to go through Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on this chapter 11, and we also have a little bit to finish up of Śrīla Prabhupāda's commentary. But I thought we might as well just start with Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and then continue with Śrīla Prabhupada once we get caught up. Okay, so Shukadeva Goswami continued, O Maharaj Parikshit, when the Yamala Arjuna trees fell, and one thing, my internet was not working all day today. This one hasn't been working. And then I thought I was gonna have to cancel for today, but then just before it was time to read, it started working. But yeah, these days my internet's been working maybe like 20% of the day, and the rest of the 80%, it's just not working. So I'm actually gonna go search out and see if there's some other company, some other way. I'm gonna just go out maybe to the Airtel office and see if they can set up broadband, because this just doesn't work, not being able to get online for so long. Dandavat pranams Madhavi Didi. All right, so Shukadeva Goswami continued, O Maharaj Parikshit, when the Yamala Arjuna trees fell, all the cowherd men in the neighborhood, hearing the fierce sound and fearing thunderbolts, they went to the spot. Commentary, Sa Artha Darshini commentary by Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. This chapter describes releasing Krishna from the mortar, buying fruits, entering Vrindavan, herding the cows in the forest, and killing Vatsasura and Bakasura. Verse 2. There they saw the fallen Yamala Arjuna trees on the grounds. But they were bewildered, because even though they could directly perceive that the trees had fallen, they could not trace out the cause for their having done so. One second, I'm just checking the mic's working. Yes, it is. Verse 3. Krishna was bound by the rope to the ulakala, the mortar, which he was dragging. But how could he have pulled down the trees? Who had actually done it? Where was the source for this incident? Considering all these astounding things, the cowherd men were doubtful and bewildered. Commentary. The cowherd men of Raj understood that Krishna had caused the Yamal Arjuna trees to fall, but because of Prem, they could not think that it was so. They doubted that such a small boy could do such a thing. They expressed their doubts in these verses. Who has done this? Why has this amazing accident happened to this boy? It is our good fortune that Lord Narayan has protected him. Thinking in this way, the cowherd men were filled with anxiety. Verse 4. Oh, 1 second, I just want to check one thing. Are there any special verses in this chapter? Okay, only verse 58, the last one. Then all the cowherd boys said, "It is Krishna who has done this. When he was in between the two trees, the mortar fell crosswise. Krishna dragged the mortar and the two trees fell down. After that, two beautiful men came out of the trees. We have seen this with our own eyes." Commentary. The cowherd boys said, "Krishna was between the trees and the mortar fell crosswise." The elders did not believe their story, so the boys repeated, "We saw two men emerge from the trees." Verse 5. Because of intense parental affection, the cowherdmen, headed by Nanda, could not believe that Krishna could have uprooted the trees in such a wonderful way. Therefore, they could not put their faith in the words of the boys. Some of the men, however, were in doubt. Since Krishna was predicted to be equal to Narayan, they thought, it might be that he could have done it. Commentary. Nanda and the cowherd men did not believe the children because their feelings for Krishna would not allow them to think that Krishna was omnipotent. Some of them, however, remembered Garga Muni's prediction about Krishna being equal to Narayan. Though full of affection for Krishna, they became uncertain and thought, maybe he did it. Verse 6. When Nanda Maharaj saw his own son bound with the ropes of the wooden mortar and dragging it, he smiled and released Krishna from his bonds. Commentary. Glancing repeatedly over all of Krishna's limbs, Nanda Maharaj smiled as he thought, "Your mother, whose lap you prefer to mine, has bound you up because of some small offense. Therefore, how can I release you? As you bind the living entities with illusion, you bind your mother and father with prem." Verse 7. The gopis would say, "If you dance, my dear Krishna, then I shall give you half a sweetmeat." By saying these words or by clapping their hands, all the gopis encouraged Krishna in different ways. At such times, although he was the supremely powerful personality of Godhead, he would smile and dance according to their desire, as if he were a wooden doll in their hands. Sometimes he would sing very loudly at their bidding. In this way, Krishna came completely under the control of the gopis. Commentary. Who can describe the good fortune of Krishna's father and mother? Though Krishna is the controller of Brahma, Shiva, and millions of demigods, he is controlled at every step by the inhabitants of Vraj. This is described in 3.5 verses. The gopis would say, "If you dance, my dear Krishna, I will give you a sweet." Induced by the gopis, Krishna sometimes danced just like a human child. Overwhelmed by the gopis' sweet love, Krishna would conceal his omnipotence and smile and dance just like a wooden doll in their hands. Verse 8. Sometimes Mother Yashoda and her gopi friends would tell Krishna, "Bring this article," or "Bring that article." Sometimes they would order him to bring a wooden plank, wooden shoes, or a wooden measuring pot, and Krishna, when thus ordered by the mothers, would try to bring them. Sometimes, however, as if unable to raise these things, he would touch them and stand there. Just to invite the pleasure of his relatives, he would strike his body with his arms to show that he had sufficient strength. Let's see that. Okay. Commentary. In order to test Krishna's strength, the gopis would ask him to bring wooden shoes and then progressively heavier objects. Ordered by the gopis, Krishna would stand up holding the objects over his soft belly. To invite the pleasure of his relatives, Krishna would sometimes slap his arms to show that he had sufficient strength. Verse 9. To pure devotees throughout the world who could understand his activities, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, exhibited how much he could be subdued by his devotees, his servants. In this way, he increased the pleasure of the Vrajvasis by his childhood activities. I don't know why yesterday I couldn't read the sentence. Anyways. Commentary. Not only Krishna's relatives, But all the Vrajvasis enjoyed unlimited bliss from his childhood pastimes, wherein he allowed himself to come under their control. Krishna showed this aspect of himself, being controlled by his devotees' love, directly to those external devotees like Brahma and Shiva, who were captivated by Krishna's potency of majestic opulence, because it could not be understood merely by explanations. It's an important point. Can't be understood by explanations. It needs to be perceived directly. 10, verse 10. Once a woman selling fruit was calling, "O inhabitants of Rajbhumi, if you want to purchase some fruits, come here." Upon hearing this, Krishna immediately took some grains and went to the barter as if he needed some fruits. Commentary. Krishna bestowed bliss upon all the residents of Vrindavan, including the Pulindas, who are aborigines or the lowest caste among the Vrajvasis. Achyuta is full in every aspect, and he himself provides fruits for everyone. Yet, desiring some fruits, he quickly went out with a handful of grains, as only that was available at the moment. Verse 11. While Krishna was going to the fruit very hastily, most of the grains he was holding fell. Nonetheless, the fruit vendor filled Krishna's hands with fruits, and her fruit basket was immediately filled with jewels and gold. Commentary. The fruit seller did not even get a full handful of grains, because the grains fell on the path as Krishna hastily approached her. Krishna exchanged the few grains remaining in his hands for some fruits, while saying, "Give me some fruit." The Pulinda woman selling fruits became overcome with affection and filled Krishna's hands with pilu and other fruits. Being greedy for the fruits, Krishna somehow managed to hold them all in his small hands by the influence of his Aishwarya Shakti. In return, the Pulinda woman received all types of wealth, including the treasure of Krishna Prem from Shri Krishna, who possessed the power to bestow all fruits. I'm just curious what the pilu is. Hare Krishna, Raj Bhuvan Yadav, and Shah Sharmaji. Thanks for the cake. 1 second, I'm just checking this. What's a pilu fruit? Pilu fruit. Interesting. They look like grapes. All right. Oops, my internet connection. Dang it. That's really bad. Tell me if my voice is still clear. Verse 12. Once after uprooting of the Yamala Arjuna trees, Rohini Devi went to call Ram and Krishna, who had both gone to the riverside and were playing with the other boys with deep attention. Commentary. To show how Krishna and Balaram were controlled more by Yashoda's affection than by Rohini's, Shukadev tells another pastime which occurred on the same day after the breaking of the Yamala Arjuna trees. Rohini called Krishna and Balaram, who had both gone to play on the bank of the Yamuna. Yashoda sent Rohini to call the boys because she wanted them to take lunch. Verse 13. Because of being too attached to playing with the other boys, Krishna and Balaram did not return upon being called by Rohini. Therefore, Rohini sent Mother Yashoda to call them back, because Mother Yashoda was more affectionate to Krishna and Balaram. Commentary. When Krishna and Balaram did not respond to her call, Rohini sent Yashoda because she knew that Yashoda had more affection for the two boys and therefore could attract them. Verse 14. Krishna and Balaram, being attached to the play, were playing with the other boys, although it was very late. Therefore, Mother Yashoda called them back for lunch. Because of her ecstatic love and affection for Krishna and Balaram, milk flowed from her breasts. Commentary. Yashoda called Krishna and Balaram again and again. She called the boys from a distance because she feared that they would run away if she came close. That's really funny. Okay, verse 15. Mother Yashoda said, "My dear son Krishna, lotus-eyed Krishna, come here and drink the milk of my breast. My dear darling, you must be very tired because of hunger and the fatigue of playing so long. There is no need to play any more." Commentary. Yashoda repeated Krishna's names several times from far off so that he would hear. I think that's so funny that she couldn't come close, otherwise he had run away. Verse 16. "My dear Baladev, best of our family, please come immediately with your younger brother Krishna. You both ate in the morning, and now you ought to eat something more." Verse 17. Nanda Maharaj, the king of Vraj, is now waiting to eat. My dear son Balaram, he is waiting for you. Therefore, come back to please us. All the boys playing with you and Krishna should now go to their homes. Commentary. Your father is sitting, but he will not eat without you. Why are you giving hunger pangs to your father? All the boys playing with you should now go to their homes. Your parents are also in difficulty like us, so please go and satisfy them. Yashoda said these things to stop the boys from playing. Verse 18. Mother Yashoda further told Krishna, "My dear son, because of playing all day, your body has become covered with dust and sand. Therefore, come back, take your bath, and cleanse yourself. Today the moon is conjoined with the auspicious star of your birth. Therefore, be pure and give cows in charity to the Brahmins." Commentary. But Krishna still did not come. Then Yashoda tried to kindle his interest in giving charity. Just see how all your playmates of your own age have been cleansed and decorated with beautiful ornaments by their mothers. You should come here, and after you've taken your bath, eaten your lunch, and been decorated with ornaments, you may play with your friends again. Commentary. When Krishna still refused to come, Yashoda tried to awaken his competitive spirit. She pointed out how his playmates were beautifully decorated by their mothers. Verse 20. My dear Parikshit, because of intense love and affection, Mother Yashoda, Krishna's mother, considered Krishna, who is at the peak of all opulences, to be her own son. Thus she took Krishna by the hand along with Balaram and brought them home, where she performed her duties by fully bathing them, dressing them, and feeding them. Commentary. Yashoda thought that Ananta, the crest jewel and source of all avatars, was her son. Another meaning, Yashoda considered that Krishna was not Bhagavan. Sheshashekaram. Actually, Krishna was both. Another meaning could be, Yashoda thought of her son as the crest jewel of her entire family. Yashoda took Krishna home and bathed, dressed, and fed him sumptuously. Verse 21. Sri Shukadev Goswami continued. Then one time, having seen the great disturbances in Prihadvan, all the elderly persons among the cowherd headed by Nanda Maharaj assembled and began to consider what to do to stop the continuous disturbing situations in Vraj. Commentary. To fulfill his desire to now play in Vrindavan, Krishna inspired Upananda from within the heart to suggest that everyone move from Mahavan, Brihadvan, to Vrindavan. Verse 12. At this meeting of all the inhabitants of Gokul, a cowherd man named Upananda, who was the most mature in age and knowledge, was very experienced according to circumstances and country, made this suggestion for the benefit of Ram and Krishna. We go to this place on our Brajmandal Parikrama, where they all met together. Commentary. Upananda was not only Nanda Maharaj's elder brother, but he was also a most learned and experienced counselor. Verse 23. He said, "My dear friends, the cowherdmen, in order to do good to this place, Gokul, we should leave because no disturbances are always in here, just for the purpose of killing Krishna." Upananda said, "Thinking of the welfare of all the inhabitants of Raj, we should move to a safer place." Verse 24. The child Krishna, simply at the mercy of the Supreme Personality of God, was some or other rescued from the hands of the Rakshasa Putana, who determines to kill him. Then again, by the mercy of the Supreme Godhead, then the cart missed falling upon the child. Verse 25. Then again, the demon Trinavarta, in the form of a whirlwind, took the child away into the dangerous sky to kill him. But the demon fell down onto a slab of stone. And that's also, by the mercy of Lord Vishnu, or his associates, the child was saved. Commentary. Krishna was once taken in the sky by Trinavarta and nearly killed. Fortunately, he was saved by Vishnu. The word Sureshwarai is spoken in the plural form to show respect. The word api mentioned in the following verse should be understood in this verse also. Though api, Krishna was taken in the sky and dropped on a rock, he was saved by Vishnu. Verse 26. Even the other day, neither Krishna nor any of his playmates died through trees, although the children are near the trees or even between them. This also is to be considered the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Commentary. So refers to Krishna. Hari Bol, no worries. I wonder where Seshwari Mataji is. She's usually here. Verse 27. All these incidents are being caused by some unknown demon. Before he comes here to create another disturbance, it is our duty to go somewhere else with the boys until there are no more disturbances. Commentary. Upananda continued. Previously, there was so much kirtan, worship, and darshan of Vishnu in this village. Everywhere, at every moment, since the birth of Nandanandan, there has only been kirtan and darshan of Vishnu. Now let us go somewhere where we can worship Vishnu, who has always protected us, without being disturbed. We should follow the Niti Shastra given by Vishnu. Verse 28. Between Nandeshwar and Mahavan is a place named Vrindavan. This place is very suitable because it is lush with grass, plants, and creepers for the cows and other animals. It has nice gardens and tall mountains and is full of facilities for the happiness of all the gopas and gopis and our animals. Commentary. We cannot return to our old capital in Nandishwar because we left there out of fear of Arishtasura and came to Mahavan. Arishtasura is still there. Between Mahavan and Nandishwar is a forest named Vrindavan. This place is very suitable for living and beneficial for the cows because it is filled with lush foliage and fresh gardens. Considering like this, Upananda spoke this verse. Verse 29. Therefore, let us immediately go today. There is no need to wait any further. If you agree to my proposal, let us prepare all the bullock carts and put the cows in front of us, and let us go there. Commentary. Therefore, if it pleases all of you, we should immediately go to Vrindavan. Verse 30. Upon hearing this advice from Upananda, the cowhead men unanimously agreed. Very nice, they said, very nice. Thus they sorted out their household affairs, placed their clothing and other paraphernalia on the carts, and immediately started for Vrindavan. I love how they're so immediately left. Commentary. The Vrajvasis started for Vrindavan after collecting all the cows and other animals and loading their household goods on carts. It shows how simple Vrajvasis were. How if you were to do that in a big city, everybody all of a sudden had to move. It'd be total chaos, and it would take forever. Verse 31 and 32. Keeping all the old men, women, and children and household paraphernalia on the bullock carts, and keeping all the cows in front, the cowherd men picked up their bows and arrows with great care, and sounded bugles made of horn. O King Parikshit, in this way, with bugles vibrating all around, the cowherd men, accompanied by their priests, began their journey. Commentary. Yatta means means carefully. Verse 33. The cowherd women riding on the bullock carts were dressed very nicely with excellent garments, and their bodies, especially their breasts, were decorated with fresh kumkum butter. As they rode, they began to chant with great pleasure the pastimes of Krishna. Verse 34. Thus hearing about the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram with great pleasure, Mother Yashoda and Rohini Devi, so as to not be separated from Krishna and Balaram for even a moment, got up with them on one bullock cart. In this situation, they all looked very beautiful. Commentary. Yashoda and Rohini held their sons and sat on one cart because Krishna and Balaram could not bear to be separated from each other. Verse 35. In this way, they entered Vrindavan, where it was always pleasing to live in all seasons. They made a temporary place to inhabit by placing their bullock carts around them in the shape of a half moon. That's Chatikara. Commentary. They formed a half circle with their bullock carts and stored all their household goods behind the carts. The front area was left open so the cows could easily come and go. This is described in the Vishnu Puran. There is no need to make fences around their temporary residence. The inhabitants were circled by bullock carts, animals, and thorn trees. Verse 36. Vrindavanam Govardhanam Yamuna Pulinani cha Vikshasir Uttama Priti Rama Madhavayor Nirpa. O King Parikshit, when Rama and Krishna saw Vrindavan, Govardhan, and the banks of the river Yamuna, they both enjoyed great pleasure. Verse 37. In this way, Krishna and Balaram, acting like small boys and talking in half-broken language, gave transcendental pleasure to all the inhabitants of Braj. In due course of time, they became old enough to take care of the calves. Commentary. At the suitable time, 3 years old, Krishna and Balaram taking care of the calves. 38. Not far away from the residential quarters, both Krishna and Balaram, equipped with all kinds of playthings, played with other cowherd boys and began to tend the small calves. Manjari Didi just sent this. Sweet photo. That's a really sweet photo. Thanks for sharing. I really like that photo. I want to put it on my wall. Okay. That's strange. It says there are only 3 people, but there's a lot more people before. I wonder if the connection's been so bad that everybody had to go. Okay, verse 39 to 40. Sometimes Krishna and Balaram would play on their flutes. Sometimes they would throw devised for getting fruits from the trees. Sometimes they would throw only stones. And sometimes, their ankle bells tinkling, they would play football with fruits like bale and amalaki. How do you play football with amalaki? Amalaki's tiny. Maybe it's like, what is it called? What is it called? Happy stack? I forgot what it's called. Anyways. Sometimes they would cover themselves with blankets and imitate cows and bulls, play with one another, roaring loudly, and sometimes they would imitate the voices of the animals. In this way, they enjoyed sporting exactly like ordinary human children. Commentary. Sometimes using slings, Krishna and Balaram would throw amalaki and bale fruits far away. Sometimes they would kick each other with their bangled feet. Covering themselves with blankets, they pretended to be bulls and roared while fighting each other. They pretended to be bulls and roared while fighting each other. They would also imitate the voices of swans and peacocks. I really love this verse. Verse 41. One day, while Ram and Krishna, along with their playmates, were tending the calves on the bank of the river Yamuna, another demon arrived there, desiring to kill them. Verse 42. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead saw that the demon had assumed the form of a calf and groups of the other calves, he pointed out to Baladev, "Here is another demon." Then he very slowly approached the demon, as if he did not understand the demon's intentions. Commentary. With a sidelong glance, Krishna informed Balaram, and then, pretending that he did not know, Krishna approached the demon. Verse 43. Thereafter, Shri Krishna caught the demon by the hind legs and tail, twirled the demon's whole body very strongly until the demon was dead, and threw him into the top of a kapitha tree, which then fell down along with the body of the demon, who had assumed a great form. Commentary. Achyuta, the Lord who never falls, grasped the hind legs and tail of Vatsasura, and then threw the demon into the top of a kapitha tree to arrange for his fall or a death from the material world. By throwing the demon in the tree, Krishna caused the kapitha fruits to fall for the satisfaction of his friends. Krishna whirled the demon around very severely until he was dead, and then threw him into the tree. And the kapitha fruits is the bale fruit. We looked that up yesterday. Verse 44. Upon seeing the dead body of the demon, all the cowherd boys exclaimed, "Well done, Krishna! Very good, thank you!" In the upper planetary system, all the demigods were pleased, and therefore they showered flowers on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Verse 45. After the killing of the demon, Krishna and Balaram finished their... Done killing the demon, let's finish our breakfast now. Krishna and Balaram finished their breakfast in the morning, and while continuing to take care of the calves, they wandered here and there. Krishna and Balaram, the Supreme Personalities of Godhead, who maintained the entire creation, now took charge of the calves as if cowherd boys. Commentary. On that day, Krishna and Balaram, who maintain all living beings throughout the whole universe, became the protectors of the calves. After taking their morning breakfast, Krishna and Balaram played while tending the calves. Okay, so now this is where we read up to yesterday with Śrīla Prabhupāda's purport. So we'll continue with Śrīla Prabhupāda's purport now and read the Sanskrit. Dandavat pranams Gargraji. And okay, that's good that you can hear me. Okay, so let's go to verse 46. What time is it now? 16. Okay. So is it okay if I go a little bit overtime today? I don't think it'll be so much overtime, but just a little bit. Swam samvatsa kulam sarve paya yeshanta ekada gatva jalashaya bhyasham paya yitva papur jalam. One day, all the boys, including Krishna and Balaram, each boy taking his own group of calves, brought the calves to a reservoir of water, desiring to allow them to drink. After the animals drank water, the boys drank water there also. Okay. Te tatra dadrishur bala mahasatvam avastitam tatra survajra nirbhinnam gire shringam ivachutam. Right by the reservoir, the boys saw a gigantic building, a mountain peak, broken and struck down by a thunderbolt. They were afraid even to see such a huge living being. Savai bako nama mahan asuro bakarupadrik agatya sahasa krishnam tikshnatundogasali. That great body demon was named Bakasura. He had assumed the body of a duck with a very sharp beak. Having come there, he immediately swallowed Krishna. Titamaj used to call me Bakasura. All the Brahmacharis are different. Verse 49. Krishna mahabhakagrastam drishtva ramadayor babur indriyani va vyapranam vichita. When Balaram and the other boys saw that Krishna had been devoured by a gigantic duck, they became almost unconscious, like senses without life. Purport. Purport by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Although Balaram can do everything, because of an intense affection for his brother, he was momentarily bewildered. A similar thing is stated to have happened in connection with Rukmini Haram, the kidnapping of Rukmini. When Krishna, after kidnapping Rukmini was momentarily bewildered until the Lord took the proper steps. Oh, I should be reading Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comment purports also. I forgot. 1 second. So, wait, what verse are we on? 40. So, the coward boys see it's such a huge living entity, so Śrīla Vishwanath Thakur said, the demons look like a mountain peak cut off by a thunderbolt. And then for the next verse, when Krishna got swallowed up, okay, nothing. And when Balaram, the other coward boys, saw that Krishna got the great duck, they became almost unconscious without life. What is this? Okay. Saying that the gigantic duck had swallowed Krishna, Balaram and the other coward boys became unconscious. Though Balaram could easily kill the demon, he responded by fainting due to the intensity of brotherly affection. A similar thing happens during the Rukmini Haran Leela, the kidnapping of Rukmini, when Balaram displayed his lively affection by protecting Krishna from the attack of Jarasandha and other soldiers. Wow, we see Śrīla Prabhupāda's purport is coming from Śrīla Vishwanath Thakur. That's really Tang Talmula Tang Talmulam Magnivar Gopala Sonam Pitaram Jagar Guru Chartasato Tirushakshatam Bakas Tundena Hantum Punarabhyapadata. Krishna, who is the father of Brahma, but who is acting as the son of a cowherd man, came like fire, burning roots of the demon's throat, and the demon Bakasura immediately disgorged him. When the demon saw that Krishna, although having been swallowed, was unharmed, he immediately attacked Krishna with his sharp beak. Purport. Although Krishna is always as soft as a lotus, within the throat of Bakasura, he created a burning sensation of being hotter than fire. Although Krishna's whole body is sweeter than sugar candy, Bakasura tasted bitterness and therefore immediately vomited Krishna up, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 4:11. Ye yata mang prapadyante tangs tataiva bhajamyaham. When Krishna is accepted as an enemy, he becomes the most intolerable object for the non-devotee, who cannot tolerate Krishna within or without. Here, this is shown by the example of Bakasura. Now let's see. Commentary. Just as sugar candy tastes bitter to the tongue of the diseased person, the demon Bakasura felt that his throat was on fire, though Krishna is as soft as a tender blue lotus. This indicates that Krishna's body became as hard as a thunderbolt. It was the fault of the demon's throat, not Krishna. When Bakasura spit out Krishna, he saw that Krishna was unharmed. Akshata. Wow. Prabhupada's purports and Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur are very similar. We can see where Śrīla Prabhupada is pulling from. Verse 51. Tam apantam sanigratandayor dorbhyam bakam kangsa sakam satang pati pashyat subaleshu tadaralilaya mudavaho viranavad divokasam. When Krishna, the leader of the Vaishnavas, saw that the demon Bakasura, the friend of Kamsa, was endeavoring to attack him, with his arms he captured the demon by the two halves of the beak, and in the presence of all the cowherd boys, Krishna very easily bifurcated him, as a child splits a blade of virana grass. By thus killing the demon, Krishna very much pleased the denizens of heaven. Commentary by Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. In the presence of all the cowherd boys, Krishna firmly grasped Bakasura's beak and bifurcated it like a blade of virana grass. This action greatly pleased all the demigods. Tada bakarim suralokavasina samakiranandana malikadibi samidire chanaka shanka sangstavais Tarviksha Gopala Sutta Visismare Mire. At that time, the celestial denizens of the higher planetary system showered Malika Pushpa, flowers grown in Nandakanan, upon Krishna, the enemy of Bakasura. They also congratulated him by sounding celestial kettle drums and conchs, and by offering prayers. Seeing this, the cowherd boys were struck with wonder. Commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The demigods showered flowers everywhere and praised him with selected prayers. Muktam Bakasya Rupalabdya Balaka Ramadaya Pranam Ivendriyo Gana Stanagatam tang prarirabhya nivrita praniya vatsan vrajameta taj jagu. Just as the senses are pacified when consciousness and life return, so when Krishna was freed from this danger, all the boys, including Balaram, thought that their life had been restored. They embraced Krishna in good consciousness, and then collected their own calves and returned to Vrajbhumi, where they declared the incident loudly. Purport. It was the practice of the inhabitants of Vrajbhumi to compose poetry about the incidents that occurred in the forest when Krishna performed different activities of killing the asuras. They would compose all the stories in poetry, or have this done by professional poets, and then they would sing about these incidents. Thus, it is written here that the boys sing very loudly. Then Śrīla Prabhupāda Thakur's commentary is, just like enlivened senses, the boys regained their lives when Krishna returned from the clutches of the demon. Balaram and the boys embraced Krishna and then collected their calves to return home. Loudly proclaims the killing of Vatsasura and Bakasura. A second meaning. The cowherd boys set the descriptions of these pastimes to poetic melody and rhythm so that they could sing them on other days. Shrutva tad vismita gopa gopyaschati padrita pretyagatam votsukyad aikshanta trishitekshana. When the cowherd men and women heard about the killing of Bakasura in the forest, they were very much astonished. Upon seeing Krishna and hearing the story, they received Krishna very eagerly, thinking that Krishna and the other boys had returned from the mouth of death. Thus they looked upon Krishna and the boys with silent eyes, not wanting to turn their eyes aside now that the boys were safe. Purport. Because of intense love for Krishna, the cowherd men and women simply remained silent, thinking of how Krishna and the boys had been saved. The cowherd men and women looked upon Krishna and the boys and did not desire to turn their eyes aside. Let's see. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The Gopas and Gopis were very pleased to see their most beloved Krishna. With eyes thirsting to drink the nectar of Krishna's beauty, they glanced at him, looking over his whole body for fear that he was wounded. Aho batasya balasya bahavo mrityavo bhavan apyasid vipriyanteshan kritam purvam yato bhayam. The cowherd men, headed by Nanda Maharaj, began to contemplate. It is very astonishing that although this boy Krishna has many times faced many varied causes of death, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it was these causes of fear that were killed instead of him. Purport. The cowherd men innocently thought, because our Krishna is innocent, the causes of death before him were themselves killed instead of Krishna. This is the greatest grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Sarartha Darshini, 3 verses 55 to 58 describe the amazement of the cowherdmen in discussing Krishna's exploits. This boy Krishna has faced many causes of death, but these causes of fear were killed and not our innocent boy. Atapyabi bhavantenam naivate ghora darshana jegangsayinam asadya nashyantyagno patangavat. Although the causes of death, the Daityas, were very fierce, they could not kill this boy Krishna. Rather, because they came to kill innocents, as soon as they approached, themselves were killed, exactly like flies attacking a fire. Purport. Nanda Maharaj innocently thought, perhaps this boy Krishna formerly killed all these demons, and therefore in this life they are envious and are attacking him. But Krishna is a fire, and they are flies, and in a fight between fire and flies, the fire is always victorious. Is always taking place between the demons and the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Paritranaya sadhanam vinashaya Bhagavad Gita 4:8. Anyone who is against the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be killed, life after life. Ordinary living beings are subject to karma, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always victorious over the demons. And then Sarartha Darshini. Nanda Maharaj innocently thought, perhaps this boy Krishna formerly killed all these demons, and therefore, in this life, they are troubling him? This verse answers the question. If that were true, then they would have been able to destroy Krishna. But when they tried to kill Krishna, they got killed by him. Aho Brahma Vidang Vacho Satya Santikar Hichit Kargo Yad Aha Bhagavan Anvabhavi Tataivatat. The words of persons in full knowledge of Brahman never become untrue. It is very wonderful that whatever Garga Muni predicted, we're now actually experiencing in detail. Purport. The purpose of human life is indicated in the Brahma Sutra, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. To make one's life perfect in the past, present, and future, one must know about Brahman. Because of intense affection, Nanda Maharaj could not understand Krishna as he is. Garga Muni was able to know everything, past, present, and future, by studying the Vedas, but Nanda Maharaj could not understand Krishna directly. Because of his intense love for Krishna, he forgot who Krishna was and could not understand Krishna's potency. Although Krishna is Narayan himself, Garga Muni did not disclose this. Thus, Nanda Maharaj appreciated the words of Garga Muni, but because of his deep affection, he could not understand who Krishna was, although Garga Muni had said that Krishna's qualities would be like those of Narayan. Commentary of Sa'artha Darshini. The reason for the condition mentioned above is now given. Nanda Maharaj continued. Garga Muni said that Krishna's qualities would be exactly like those of Iti Nanda Gopa Krishama Katam Muda Kurvanto Ramamanascha Navindam Bhavavedanam. In this way, all the cowherd men, headed by Nanda Maharaj, enjoyed the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram with great transcendental pleasure, and they could not even perceive material tribulations. Purport. Here is an instruction about the result are discussing the Krishna Leelas that appear in Srimad Bhagavatam. Sadhya hridyavaruddhate prakritibi shushushabis takshanat. That's the second Srimad Bhagavatam from the beginning. Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda and Vrindavan appeared like two ordinary persons of this material world, but they never felt the tribulations of this world, although they sometimes met many dangerous situations created by the demons. This is a practical example. Follow in the footsteps of Nanda Maharaj and the Gopas, we can all be happy simply by discussing the activities of Krishna. Anarto pashamam shakshar bhakti yogam adhokshaje lokasya janato vedvansh chakre satvata samhitam. Vyasadeva has given this letter so that everyone may understand one's transcendental position by discussing Bhagavat Katha. Even at the present moment, everyone everywhere can be happy in material tribulations by following Srimad Bhagavatam. There is no need of austerities and penances, which in this age are very difficult to perform. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore declared, Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. By our Krishna consciousness movement, we are trying to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam so that anyone in any part of the world can be absorbed in the Krishna consciousness movement by chanting and hearing about the activities of Krishna and be free from all material tribulations. Okay, this is the last verse. Let's see Chakravarti Thakur. Sarartha Darshini. Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd men sat in the meeting room and repeatedly discussed the naughtiness of the boy and his killing of Vatsasura and Bakasura. They also composed songs which they sang again and again, and thus they did not perceive the tribulations of material existence. Other elderly cowherd men coming from distant places informed Nanda about the need to become liberated from the material world. Half your life is gone. Why do you remain immersed in discussing about child, family, and wife? Why don't you concentrate on knowledge, detachment, austerity, and remembrance of Narayan so that you get deliverance from the material world? Though requested this way, Nanda Maharaj and the other men did not pay any attention to that. Vindam bhavasya vedanam. To say that this phrase means that they did not suffer the pains of material life is not acceptable. The Srimad Bhagavatam 10.640 describes the exalted nature of the cowherd men and women who are not touched by the material world born of ignorance. There is no question that they could be affected by the pains of the material world. And this way, whatever appears as material tribulations simply nourishes the pastimes and therefore is called Lila Maya. Not only did the cowherd men speak about Krishna and his past future pastimes, but they also enjoyed playing with Krishna. Thus, they did not know the sufferings of materialistic persons, though they were living in the material world. When the Brajvasis say, "I am suffering from hunger," that hunger is not related to the material world. Evam viharai kumarai Komaram jahatur braje Nilayanai setu bandhar Markato plavanadibihi. In this way, Krishna and Balaram passed their childhood age in Vrajbhumi by engaging in activities of childish play, such as playing hide and seek, constructing a make-believe bridge on the ocean, and jumping here and there like monkeys. What a sweet way to end the chapter. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 10th canto, 11th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Childhood Pastimes of Krishna. All right, so tomorrow we will read about the killing of the demon Aghasura. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shri Guru Garanga Giri Hari, Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashutara Shatashmar, Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Gurudev Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashutara Shatashmar, Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashutara Shatashmar, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashutara Shatashmar, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Goksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jeev Gopala Bhatta Dashagunath, Shard Goswami Prabhu ki jai, Shri Sarup Damodar, Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Shri Lahairas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Radhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandal, Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kund ki jai, Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai, Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai, Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya ki jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Krishna's Poganda Leela ki jai. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavascha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams everybody. And we are nearly finished with Śrīla Prabhupāda's purports. It's going to be sad finishing Śrīla Prabhupāda's purports. But yeah, look, there's this chapter 12. This is all that's left of this book, chapter 12. And then there's the next book, which is chapter 13. It's a small, tiny book. And then so only 2 more chapters left. And then we only have Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. So we should be finishing that pretty soon. Wow, pretty amazing, huh? After, how long has it been? It's been, well, we started beginning of Chaturmasya, plus there was Purushottam Vrat. So it's been like 2 years, right? 2 full years now. More than 2 years that we've been reading every day. All right, Dandavat pranams everybody. See you all tomorrow. Yeah, what to do? I guess when we finish Śrīla Prabhupāda's purports, we could also read, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's purports are so juicy, but they are very brief also. But there are also other commentaries, like on different pastimes. So maybe we could start reading that, my Gurudev's commentary, and yeah, and also Śrīla Prabhupada, maybe the Krishna book, and things like that. So, all right, Hari Bol. See you all tomorrow. Yeah, almost exactly 2 years. Right,